All right, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off first and foremost by giving all praises going out to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakafadash, double honors to our elders and the apostles, great millstone, who are willing to teach well, and peace, love, salutations to those that do this work in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Nathan Yala from the gym is Camp Atlanta, coming back at you with another lesson, and I pray and hope this lesson is edifying. And we're going into these people who say they're the people, but the behavior that they display does not line up. Now, of course, we've been going into this over and over and over to show that these ish people that are in the Holy Land that call themselves in that claim to be, let's say, the people, and they display more and more that they're not the people. Okay, now when you go to the book of Deuteronomy, we're going to go there real quick, 28 and 44. It says, I'm gonna start at verse 43. It says, "The stranger that I was in that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail." That means that you're going to be at the bottom. You're not going to have any power or authority or finances to make moves to stop other people from speaking out against you. You're not going to have that type of authority. You're going to be at the bottom. Now, I'm going to play this video in just a second, and we're going to read some stuff off of Google. But what people have enough power to where they can cause somebody that sits on a high seat of the UN, or I think that's the UN, but we're going to read about it in just a second and get the right stuff about it. And you can have her removed from her position. You can make it to where she can't use her bank cards, her credit cards. Okay. And then you can have her husband demoted. And yet you are not in charge. You don't control the finances. You don't control the banks. You don't have super PACs like APAC, that huge lobby that lobbies for a foreign nation and wins and get exactly what they want. Okay, so it's only one people that are able to do that, that have the ability to where they can just block everything that you do. Okay, I'm gonna go to the book of Numbers real quick, and then we're gonna play this video. This is Numbers 24 and 20, and it reads, oh man, what the heck is that? Hold on 1 second, man. There's a big old bug just came into my house. I have no idea what it is. Can't get it. Salaki. Salaki. Man, that thing was huge. Anyway, it says, um, uh, we're gonna go to Amalek. I'm sorry, Numbers 24 and 20, and it says, and when he looked, he took up this parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. Okay? So Amalek is the first of the nations. Okay? Amalek is the head tribe of the Edomites. And Amalek has not shared his blessing. He created an illusion that he was actually sharing his blessing, the blessing that was given to Edom, right? But at the end of the day, they were hoarding everything for themselves. That's another topic, okay? But the point of this is that um, you wouldn't be able to do this type of move that I'm about to play if you were people that were on the bottom and oppressed and you didn't have any control over nations. Okay? So, here we go.
Breaking news from San Diego. Breaking news. You guys ready for a good laugh? UN delegate Francesca Albanese, who has openly talked about how a certain country, let's call them Israel, holds strong sway over U.S. politics and decisions, is now facing the full force of that very influence in the most ironic possible way.
She is banned entry from the United States. She cannot use a bank card. She cannot use a debit card. She cannot receive a payment. It sends a message of deterrence. And after she was sanctioned, we got her husband, who works for the World Bank, who shares in her incitement. He was demoted from his position at the World Bank for incitement to hate.
Halil Noor from UN Watch stood in front of a cheering crowd and proudly bragged about how they helped slap sanctions on her, shutting down her ability to live normally. She can't use a credit card, can't open or use a debit card, and basically has no bank account anywhere in the world because banks everywhere are scared of U.S. secondary penalties that could hit them hard. This leaves her completely unbanked, relying on cash for everything, struggling with simple payments, and facing what she calls a kind of a financial isolation of civil death. They even went after her husband, reportedly getting him demoted from his World Bank job over related claims. It's almost comical how the reaction to her criticism proves her point. Talk about control, and suddenly you're cut off from everyday life. While she can still fly commercially on many routes outside the U.S., the lack of having a credit card or debit card makes booking flights, renting cars, or handling travel a constant headache, forcing her to depend on her friends and cash only. But honestly, you just can't make this stuff up. She calls out the control, and boom, they prove her right by freezing her out financially and making normal life a nightmare. It's straight up control that they call blood libel and anti-Semitism, and it shows exactly why so many of us are fed up with how things really work behind the scenes. Breaking news.
All
You
right.
guys ready for a good laugh?
So you have these Western Edomites that are fed up with what's happening with these Middle Eastern Edomites, with Western Asian Edomites. Okay, because these people pretty much get to do whatever they want to do. You speak out against them. Hey, you saw what happened, you know? And this woman, I looked her up, Francesca Albanese, it says the UN special reporter on the occupied Palestine territories frequently speaks out against Israel, describing its actions in Palestine terrors as a genocide. She repeatedly called for a global arms embargo and the suspension of trade and diplomatic ties with Israeli governments. Okay? So this woman has been actively speaking out against these people that are in power that are doing this. Now, the scriptures say, all right, the scriptures say when, and I'm just going to get it, Proverbs 29. We're going to go back to that. Isaiah 4, I believe. Um, Proverbs 29 and 2. And we bring this out, but when if you really look at the state of everything and you look at how the people are behaving right now, you can say, well, whoever's in charge right now is causing all this stuff. It always boils back to the leadership. Who's the one that are leaders? Who's the one that are ruling everything? Because from them stems out, as the scriptures say, as the king, so his officers. Okay, so it stems out from the people that are in rulership, and it trickles down. But this is Proverbs 29:2. It says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." Okay. So um, the righteous are not in authority. So you're not in a world of rejoicing. You're in the opposite. You're in a world of mourning. Okay. So what does that tell you? Well, that should tell you that whoever's over there in that land, they're not the people, because the world would be a much different place if the Israelites were over there in that land. Okay? So we're going to go to Isaiah 4. Is it 4? No, that's not Isaiah 2. There's Isaiah 2. Isaiah 2, I'm going to start at verse 2, and it says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the hill, in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all the nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall say, Come, and let us go to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of Yahweh of Jacob, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." Okay? That's not happening right now. The other nations aren't flowing on to Amalek. Okay? The other nations are openly speaking out about these people. Okay? But then you have so much power that you can just pretty much sanction an individual, a person. Now, if you really think about it, this is actually going into exactly what they want to do with the RFID microchip, to be able to just turn you off to where you can't participate in society if you go against them, so they'll have total totalitarian control. Okay? So it says, verse 4, and it says, "And he shall judge among many nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords in the plowshares, and their spears in the pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more." Okay? So this is a future prophecy that's talking about how when the real people are in charge, the rest of the world, they're not going to learn war no more. Okay, they're they're going to look for the godly way, and they're going to attach themselves to the hem of he to the heel of him that's a Jew, roughly paraphrasing, and they're going to want to learn these ways. They're not doing that right now with those people. Okay, so you can't you fulfill Deuteronomy 28:44. Okay, but this scripture is talking about when the Lord said He was going to put us back in our own land. It wasn't going to be through no 1948 Balfour Declaration. Okay, because it wasn't going. It's not going to be none of that. It's going to be Yahweh Shem Shai putting His people back in His land, and that right there is going to make the world marvel. Okay, so then now let's go back to the book of Joel because let's go to the book of Joel because this is what's really happening right now. This is Joel 3 and 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say that I am strong. This is what's happening under the rulership of the wicked people, of the wicked ones. Okay? You have the other nations coming together for war. Okay? That's what you have going on. They're sharpening their technology. They're creating more powerful delivery systems for their hypersonic missiles. Okay? They're not trying to learn the way of peace. So how can you be the people if the world isn't which the world if you're not fulfilling what the scriptures say in Isaiah the second chapter? Okay? You're not fulfilling that. Okay? The rest of the world hates you. Okay? Let's have another precept in mind. All right. All right. Let's go to Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 36 and 2. And it says, thus said the Lord power, because the enemy has said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are in our possession. Okay? They have all of the ancient high places. And where are those high places at? They're in the state of Israel. They're in that land. Okay? Because they have all those things in possession. They got all the relics. Okay? They have all of the history. So all of the ancient high places are there, and they brag about it. Okay, they openly talk about how they have all these things in their possession, and it's not for you. You see, these people don't want you to have nothing. Okay, but as you can see, these people have openly show that they have the authority to just stop you out of the system. Okay. Now I'm about to go to this Obadiah, and I'm gonna go ahead and close out on this. This is Obadiah 1. Oh, there's only one book. It's Obadiah 1 and 2, and it reads, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And you are despised. You're trying to force feed love down people's throat, but people hate your motherfucker. They hate your ass, especially you Amalekites. Okay? You are greatly despised. And that's why the Lord about to get rid of you. All right? And you can clearly see that these people that are over there are not the people. Because I just read to you how they would not learn war anymore. And the Lord is going to be the one to set us back into our own land and return our heritage unto us. Okay? It's not going to be no Balfour Declaration. So this goes to show you that these people are indeed the head, and we and everybody else is the tail, because he's able to do all of this stuff and get our husband demoted. Okay, so again, y'all see that these people are the ones who actually have the power, okay, and control everything. So with that, I just praise the edifying lesson to those who heard it. And I like to end it off by giving all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Rakakadash. Until the next time I came, I say shalom.